It's even got a little pole area where you can put your poles. And you better believe I'm using my crankbait again. All right, guys, let's see what's in this corner over here. There's usually a lot of vegetation right over here. Heavy, thick. Kind of felt a little bit there. I always like to pause it before I reel it all the way in. Just a different speed can trigger a bite. And sometimes this fish, since this water, and I've noticed that a lot of Ohio water is just murky and muddy. So it's all about bringing it all the way to the bank where you're fishing or to the boat and kind of pausing it. And sometimes that fish will just hit it right there by you. You know, these are just my opinions. This video is just for me, sharing my experience with you. For everybody just to take a look at these beautiful lakes we have in Ohio. Ponds, lakes, rivers, and see actually people catching stuff out of them. You know, that's the cool part about it. You know, like I said, you know, on YouTube, when you search for different lakes, there's not many videos posted. So I'm trying to change that and just put a little more options there so people see a little more updated of how the lake's doing. You know, I like looking at fishery reports. I like seeing blogs about, you know, who's catching what lake, you know, is up or down on water, how's the water clarity, what's the temperature of the water, you know, a lot of that stuff. So I just saw a fish jump right there. Looked more like a carp though. Actually, I can actually crank this a little faster over here. I thought the weeds would be a lot thicker, but they're not. So you better believe it. I'm going to crank it over that area. There we go. See, that's really shallow, so I'll kind of just slow crank it just a little bit and kind of not get hung up on that vegetation. Then I'll go ahead and crank that shit right on in there. Fishing is so much fun. I don't see why people don't like it. The thing on Facebook the other day that I posted was, you know, if you don't like fishing, raise your hand. And then there's a picture of a big bass, and then at the bottom it says, "Now smack yourself because you're an idiot." It's funny. I mean, it's not made for some people. Some people have patience for it, you know. Thanks to my dad and my grandpa, and you know, they started me young fishing. I remember I was like 5 or 6 years old, and I was at Indian Lake. We were camping, and I'm one of those guys that's up early. Even a kid, I was up before everybody on the campsite. They wake up, they're like, "Where's Grant?" You know, he's out fishing. You know, age 6, I'm already at the lake, and I ended up catching a carp. And I was using bobber and a worm. And let me tell you, it was so funny because I had like one of those Scooby-Doo clothes reels, something similar to Zebco. And when it took off with my bait, instead of reeling it in, I actually was running with the pole in my hand away from the bank, and I actually got it in that way. I ran about a good 20 feet, but I brought in a carp bigger than me. I couldn't even hold it. And luckily my grandpa came down the lake and saw me, and he actually took a picture of me with it. So those are just memories I always remember and I always cherish, because my grandpa, rest in peace, he passed away several years ago. But I have to give him credit. Thanks to him and my dad, they're the ones that inspired me to fish. And I'm sure that you have stories like that too. And if you want to, go ahead and share them with me. Go ahead and write it in the comment or something about my video. It'd be interesting to hear about the first time you've ever fished, who got you into it, what inspired you to fish, because everybody's got their own story. And for me, Just like any bass fisherman, once you catch your bass and you catch that first bass and you actually worked hard to get that bass by different lures, different styles, different techniques, it feels amazing. It really does. Yeah, I'm not getting nothing over here. No bites or nothing. I see the vegetation's a lot lower to the ground too. It's not as tall, so that could be an issue. Right in that area right there, I caught a 4-pounder. They like to swim up and down. I'm gonna walk on the other side there, and we'll hit that that brush area up their head, and we'll get over there and fish up and down that and see what we can come up with. I've only got a couple hours to fish today. Wife and I want to go for a walk or night walk. You know, when you get 45 like I am, you start worrying about dieting and exercise because you want to live longer. You don't feel like you're old until you're in your 40s, I think. That's how I feel anyway. All right, so there's nothing there, so we're going to walk around this other side here and see what we can catch. All right, hopefully we'll catch something. Some people like to fish in one spot the whole time and just keep on fishing and keep on fishing, and I'm not like that. I did see a big swell right over there. It looks like bass to me. See, another thing about this, it's got a rattle. You know, a lot of those square bills don't have rattles in them. Okay, I didn't see nothing follow it. Right out there where I casted, usually you can see, okay, I can feel the algae now. So I'm kind of pulling through it. Keep on saying algae, it's not algae, I don't know what kind of weed that is. But looks like right there is a freaking plastic bag. I've caught some of the craziest things on my crankbaits. When I was at Paint Creek last year, ripped into something I thought was a big old fish and brought it up, and it was a big old rock. So somehow I caught a rock with my crankbait. I was like, are you kidding me? There's a turtle poking its head out right there. See it? If you were fishing with nightcrawler over here, that's probably what you would catch right there, is that turtle or a minnow. And turtles can be little bastards sometimes. I always end up catching some mean ass turtle when I'm in the river, and I lose about $10 worth of tackle. It's just, rivers are a hard thing to fish for me. Usually in this little area here, I always get something. So maybe I'll just kind of work a little slower this time. I mean, I see little circles of fish being around, but I don't see anything attacking me yet. Try to go this way. See if there's any fish biting over here. Try my luck between the woods here. Figures I get stuck on a branch. Figures I made it worse. Haha, look at that. That's skill. A lot of you are probably saying that was luck. You're right, it was lucky. Anything could have happened. Could have wrapped around that twig and just got stuck there. And there's no way you can get that when it's right there. And I ain't jumping in the water for it. About ready to try another area over here. It's overcast, sun's not out. I feel a little bit of junk on that. That's how sensitive braid is, man. I can feel everything that's on my lure. If there's a little twig on there, a little piece of algae or a little piece of weed, I can feel it. Just all the way it vibrates, you can feel it.